Straight ahead on CCX News, a spotlight on your taxes.
The state of Minnesota is not in conformity with the federal tax rules.
Why it could cause more filing headaches and how it could cost you more to file. Plus, do you recognize this man? Police believe he's responsible for at least 2 Salvation Army Kettle thefts. And a financial boost for local projects like the New Hope Pool. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Tax season is right around the corner, but filing taxes will likely be more complicated for many Minnesotans. Reporter Sonia Goins talked with a certified public accountant from Brooklyn Park about the changes.
There's a big difference in the federal and the state.
Some say filing taxes is right up there with getting a root canal.
I think it's going to be a little bit of a pain.
David Hoffman has been crunching numbers for decades.
They're doing different things.
He says this year could be more challenging because Minnesota does not conform with federal guidelines.
Minnesota return is still going to be filed with the rules that apply to years ending after December 31st of 2016, whereas the federal government is using the rules that apply to years ending after December 31st of 17.
And that impacts just about everyone who files taxes. Here's where the big changes come into play. For the first time, you can either use the standard deduction or itemize on your state taxes.
Keep all the receipts.
Regardless of how you file on your federal tax return. Before, the two had to line up the same.
There's a big difference in the federal and the state standard deduction. It's $24,000 for married filing jointly on the federal, $13,000 on the state of Minnesota.
And speaking about deductions, if you bike to work and get reimbursed by your employer, you might be surprised by this change.
On the federal return, they're going to tax the reimbursements on bicycle commuting. The state of Minnesota, you can deduct it still.
There's also a difference in what you can and cannot deduct.
Unreimbursed medical. You need your unreimbursed employee business expenses. That will be deductible on your state of Minnesota, where it's not deductible on the federal return.
New forms have also been added to the Minnesota tax return.
Minnesota has her own schedule for itemized deductions this year.
Meanwhile, the Minnesota Department of Revenue is updating its computer software to make things easier to navigate.
They may have to answer a few more questions on that electronic software, but overall it should be a similar experience to what they've had in previous years.
And if you choose to have someone else do your taxes, prepare to pay more.
The biggest problem is it's going to cost our clients more money to have the return because I think it's going to take longer to do it.
Now, the Minnesota Department of Revenue is encouraging people to keep their receipts. Some people think they can just toss them out because they're taking standard deductions on federal tax forms. But you still need those receipts to itemize on state tax documents. And whatever you do, don't do like me and wait until the last minute to file. So gather up all your documents now. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Sonia. We have a correction to make on a story we ran yesterday on Brooklyn Park's budget that the City Council recently approved. The story mentioned the Council approved a $47 million increase in the tax levy. That number is the total property tax levy, not the amount of the increase. The increase is actually about $2 million, or more than a 4% increase. Here again is what it means for the median valued home of $228,000. Those homeowners can expect to pay nearly $93 a month. That's actually a slight decrease from 2018, about 47 cents less per month. Now keep in mind these are just your city taxes, and also keep in mind how much more or less you pay in taxes depends on how much the value of your home increases or decreases. 3 out of every 4 homes in the city will see some sort of city tax increase. We apologize for that error. Part of Brooklyn Park's budget plans for a new investments in the city's fire service.
I don't know what the numbers are from the National Fire Protection Agency, how many firefighters we should have. We are at unsafe levels right now. I can guarantee you that.
Councilmember Terry Parks is making a push for more firefighters. This as the city awaits the results of a third-party study that's supposed to provide a complete analysis of Brooklyn Park's fire operations. Nearly 2 years ago, the city's former fire chief relocated firefighters from the city's East Station. That decision raised some concern about the city having proper coverage on the east side of the city. Brooklyn Park's budget allots $215,000 for additional firefighters. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Park Police are investigating the theft of a Salvation Army kettle. It happened earlier this month at the Cub Foods on West Broadway. A similar theft occurred at the Cub Foods in Rogers. Police believe it's the same person responsible for both thefts. Authorities say this surveillance photo shows the thief. He was wearing a white and black flannel jacket. He was also seen driving a blue truck. In the Brooklyn Park case, police say he grabbed the entire kettle stand and hauled it away. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. Christmas is only a week away, and while some of us are finishing up our Christmas shopping, some families aren't able to afford gifts for their children. Reporter Meredith Hackler shows us how the Salvation Army in Brooklyn Park is making sure families in need can have gifts under the tree.
This is the waiting area, so we have some Christmas music playing.
For 150 years, the Salvation Army has been doing the most good.
We got some shoppers here. They take a bag, they work with a family.
She'll love that. Yeah, she wants to attend again.
And the holidays are a time where their good is needed the most.
Just moved here from out of state a couple months ago, so we're struggling a bit. And this is just, I never thought I'd be in need, so it's just beautiful to be able to do this.
Gabriella Haywood just moved to Brooklyn Center from California. She has 2 young girls under the age of 5.
I have no family here, so it's just rough. It's just rough having to go through this on your own, you know?
If not for the Salvation Army, she says Christmas gifts would be non-existent.
Just our heartfelt thank you, because they don't know how much they're affecting families like me.
If it weren't for places like this, a lot of kids would be disappointed or not have as good a Christmas.
At this Salvation Army in Brooklyn Park alone, they're serving around 1,000 families. That equals out to 3 kids per household that will have something special to open on Christmas Day. The Salvation Army serves 7,000 families throughout the Twin Cities, and they pride themselves on making distributions like these.
Right, let's go to the 3-year-old.
A shopping experience for parents.
They really get to pick out what's important to their kids, just like someone would be able to if they could afford having the toys.
Just make my girls happy, that's it.
And reactions like that are why the Salvation Army continues to be a pathway of hope for those in need.
I love it. I love being able to take care of families, and I think it's what we're meant to do.
In Brooklyn Park, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
The Hennepin County Board awarded 39 youth sports grants this month, and you could see some of that money come to a park near you. The city of New Hope received $257,000 to go toward their outdoor aquatic facility. Crystal will receive $100,000 for their inclusive play area and splash pad at Becker Park. And Golden Valley will get $96,000 to go towards softball field improvements at Lyons Park, Wesley Park, and Shaper Park. New Hope, Robbinsdale, and Brooklyn Center schools also receive grants of under $10,000 for different projects they have. The movement to create an arts center in Maple Grove was addressed by the council Monday night, but it didn't get very far. The council heard a report from the Citizens Advisory Council, which was tasked with assessing the public's interest in a centralized facility for the arts, as well as how such an arts center might be implemented. The committee concluded in part that it didn't have enough information to accurately judge interest, but did say that arts centers in other cities tended not to rely on city government for funding.
Those that were most successful really started with a grassroots community effort where the community not only brought the idea to the table, but they found a way to raise the funds.
But in a public comment session, many citizens objected to the conclusion and accused the city of ignoring the arts in favor of other programs like sports.
I see city growing largely with the community center, with sports, with everything but the arts. And why is that? Why do we not have, more refined art programming here and theater? You guys need to answer that to us, the public.
You spend money on all these wonderful things, but none on the arts. Correct?
Well, I suppose it depends on how you define the arts.
And I work with kids.
We built the band show, obviously.
Mayor Stephenson said the city understands there is an interest in the Arts Center, and it will keep looking into the matter over the next year. Still ahead, our series of school spotlights continues. Today we visit a school in Plymouth. Plus, the Armstrong girls basketball team is off to a great start after struggling last winter. But first, remaining relatively warm on Wednesday, and then we cool off slightly. Today's school spotlight focuses on Fourth Baptist Christian School in Plymouth. Neil Persley takes us there.
Fourth Baptist Christian School began in 1966 as an act of conviction following earlier Supreme Court cases which removed God and prayer from public schools.
So our pastor at the time, from his pulpit, he said, we are going to start our own school because if God is not welcome anymore in the public school, then we need to have a school where he is welcomed.
Fourth Baptist Christian School continues to provide a Christ-centered learning environment for grades K through 12.
The mission of Fourth Baptist is to train up children really in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. We want to give them a biblical worldview. And what we are trying to strive is we're trying to put godly teachers in front of our kids.
In addition to rigorous academics, Fourth Baptist has long been known for excellence in their music program. They recently concluded their Christmas concert, which had over 1,000 people in attendance.
We did some sacred music, but then we did some fun music. We ended with a combined song with all of our 4th through 12th grade students with our senior high band. So there was about 160 kids on the platform singing at the end.
There's a lot of stuff to like about Fourth Baptist. I'd say primarily the emphasis that Fourth places is on biblical truths. Each faculty member, each teacher, they really want to instill biblical truths to their students, and they really care about our personal development.
Fourth has really prepared me academically, and I've been able to obtain scholarships for it. And I visited colleges, and I've been able to keep up with their curriculum when I visit classes and things.
Fourth Baptist Christian School continues to prepare young people for life and offer an alternative to public education.
Not only do we want to develop character, not only do we want to give them strong academics, but we want them to think as God would think, and then to obey the Word of God and to live it out in their lives.
In Plymouth, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Still ahead, we preview a holiday concert happening this weekend in Brooklyn Park. But first, the Osseo Park Center girls hockey team is enjoying a very good season so far. We'll hear from the Stars next in sports with John Jacobson.
It's always fun to exceed expectations for high school teams. Today we feature two teams who are off to great starts, starting with Armstrong girls basketball. Here's Jay Wilcox.
After a 7-20 finish last season, Armstrong is off to a 6-0 start this year. It's a surprise to some, but not all of the Falcons.
I believe it was a possibility because just knowing us, we always work on the off season. A lot of us play AAU, so I know we're working on our skill sets and everything.
You know, to be honest, after last season, which was pretty rough, we didn't really expect to have this good of a season so far. We have a lot of girls. We have a super deep bench. You know, we're playing 9 deep on varsity, which is huge. Makes a big difference for us. And, you know, I think we're really we have a lot of seniors. We're mixing the young with the old, and it's really working right now.
It isn't just that Armstrong has won every game. The closest margin so far has been 12 points, and they're outscoring their opponents by an average of 62-36. They're putting a lot of things together.
The teamwork and the chemistry has been great. We've had a lot of girls since they were 8th graders and 9th graders, and it's good to see them put it all together so early this season.
I think our defensive side is our best right now because we're having a team underneath 36 points a game and just talking and being very aggressive on the ball.
2 veteran stars lead the way. Masengo Mutanda and Carly Kerschel are each averaging over 18 points per game for the Falcons and are 2 of the better players in the Northwest Suburban Conference. The Falcons know some tougher tests are ahead as they hit the heart of conference play.
Yeah, definitely. January is where our schedule is going to get a lot tougher. We have a 4-game week, which is going to be, we're going to play 4 games in 5 days, which is going to be really tough, and we're going to be playing our toughest competition we've played yet. Our first game back is Maple Grove, and we play them right after winter break, and that's always a tough game coming back anyways, and they are one of our tougher competitions, so that's a big deal.
It's been an eye-opener so far. We'll see if Armstrong can keep up the hot start. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Falcons host Tutino Greats Tuesday night and then play at Irondale Friday before resuming play January 3rd. The Osseo Park Center girls hockey team is 4-0-1 in conference play and atop the Northwest Suburban Conference's West Division. It's an impressive progression for a program that struggled the last few years. Here's Jason Malillo with more on OPC.
Effort and controlling what they can control is why the OPC girls hockey team is 5-1-1 in its last 7 games.
You can control a couple things in hockey, all right? You can't control our skill, but we can control our effort. And that's what we focus on. Like we said, doing the little things right, doing those little, blocking shots when you have to, and like we talked about, our strong forecheck is our key, and tighten up our D zone, and that's why we're winning games right now.
It's a lot different from when I started this program. The atmosphere has changed a lot. Everyone is actually working towards one goal and focused on one goal.
Osseo Park Center is led by Laura Denchfield, who scored 11 goals so far. The senior says she has great chemistry with line mates Chloe Lewis and Presley Kramer, neither of whom she'd played with before this season.
We each have our individual role on the line. We each do it well, but everyone works hard in the end, so that's what pulls us together.
OPC will travel to War Road right after Christmas for the Hockeytown Holiday Classic. They'll play 3 games December 26th through the 28th. The goal for the second half of the season is to keep progressing, and the tournament will be a good challenge.
Those northern teams definitely play a rougher style of hockey, but we're looking forward to it. Hopefully they won't outwork us in the corners. We'll be able to forecheck them hard. So it'll help us show where we want to be and how physical we want to be. And they're definitely hard workers up there, so we'll try and compete with them.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
OPC plays Tutino Greats on Tuesday night and then Minnehaha United on Friday. That's all for sports. Shannon's back with more in a moment.
It's that time of year when you can hear beautiful holiday music almost every weekend. But what if you can't get out to a concert? The Partners in Praise Choir has been busy trying to bring the music to groups of people who might not be able to get out. They've been performing at the Children's Hospital, the Ronald McDonald House, and in senior homes all throughout the metro.
Sharing our music and getting people to sing with us. It's one of my favorite things. We do a lot of audience sing-alongs, and people just light up, especially at the senior homes.
We perform for people all over the metro, and besides just bringing us kind of the joy of singing and the joy of performance, it's really bringing music to people that may not otherwise hear it.
Partners in Praise is planning a performance this weekend in Brooklyn Park at Prince of Peace Lutheran Church at 7 p.m. Donations are requested, and we will leave you today with the sound of Partners in Praise preparing for their Saturday concert. Have a good day, everybody.